Welcome to Opa Podcast, episode 44. Today we have three of your four hosts of Opa Podcast. It's me, Jason O, along with
Griffin.
And I'm Wyatt.
And today it's so bittersweet. It is the last regular season preview for this college football season of 2021. I'd say we have a very action-packed episode for you this week. So to first start off, it is Thanksgiving week. Thanksgiving is taking place if you're listening tonight or in the morning of Thanksgiving. Today's the 24th. Tomorrow or the day of is the 25th of Thanksgiving. In terms of plans, I will be with family and with my girlfriend to eat some very good food. And I don't plan to partake in any Black Friday shopping. I'm doing most of my stuff online this year anyway, so looking forward to that. And of course, my hope is we whoop the Badgers' ass, take home the axe, and potentially get to a Big Ten championship. I can't talk.
We're going through it.
Yep.
It's one of my ridiculous hypothetical type of situation.
All right, what are y'all doing for Thanksgiving here?
I'm just gonna be chilling in South Dakota here tomorrow, but I have family coming this weekend, so not to worry. Even though it won't be spent necessarily on Thanksgiving Day, I'll still have family in town this weekend. Got to do a little work, grind, but there'll be plenty of good family time this weekend, and maybe even into early next week.
I will actually be joining you in Blaine for Thanksgiving Day.
Hey.
What a shock. I'll be with my wife's family for Thanksgiving Day. And then Saturday is my dad's birthday, so we'll be celebrating Thanksgiving there while watching the Gophers move up on the Badgers.
Oh, hell yeah. Awesome. And as our listeners are probably aware, listening or watching, Laurence isn't here with us, probably busy. And also, I believe he probably is traveling back to see family. He is in Kansas City area. And then Soup or Eli and Keegan, our usual guest hosts, aren't here tonight as well. So that's the three of us. This is a quick Gopher Sports recap, guys. Your 2021 men's basketball team is currently 4-0, winning their previous game against Purdue Fort Wayne 78-49. And they're playing against Jacksonville tonight at 8 p.m. Actually, it probably should have started by now. So go men's basketball, and kudos to Ben Johnson's first season at the helm.
You said Purdue, and I was shocked, and then you said Fort Wayne, and I realized why I shouldn't be shocked.
Yep.
Purdue has been a stunningly good basketball team this year.
They have. They're really good. I think they're like the team to beat for the Big Ten championship for both regular season and the tournament.
They might be one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah. Next up, unfortunately, women's basketball. I don't know what to say about them. They're currently 4-3. Essentially winning four games out of the 7, losing 3, losing two or three in the past couple last week or so, I would say, against UConn. Oh, no, my bad. Yeah, UConn and Oklahoma.
I was gonna say, at least UConn is,
yeah,
it's almost a quality loss.
Yep, it is. But women's basketball right now, record-wise, ain't doing too hot. But again, I think they're on the right track, doing what Lindsay Whalen wants to do, and also killing it at recruiting, which is awesome, especially keeping those Minnesota prospects. Then next up, men's hockey is currently 8-6 overall, but I believe we're still ranked in the top 10 in both the USCHO and pairwise rankings. Same with women's hockey. I don't know what rankings they are, but they're currently 11-3 overall, with a 7-3 record in conference play. So men's and women's hockey still doing their thing. Men's hockey's record doesn't seem as nice, but you look at some of their more recent games. For example, their last series was against Penn State. They lost 3-5, but then they won 4-2. Before that, Ohio State, they lost 3-4, which is a close game. Won the next one 2-0. Wisconsin lost in overtime 3-4, and then won 4-1. So we've been splitting a lot of series, but we do have very great players we're currently, and a lot of them are stepping up with the loss of course, Sampo Ranta, who left early last season, and a loss of a few seniors as well. So I think we're finally getting our footing with some of our newer players and lineups in the Gopher hockey team for the men's side. So, looking forward to what our remaining teams and programs can do for Gopher sports. Anything else for Gopher sports, boys?
I think you covered it.
All right. So I didn't watch the game. I only saw checking ESPN or scoring apps here and there while I was with some friends and my girlfriend. But the Gophers won last weekend in Bloomington, 35-14. Some quick notes and stats. Tanner Morgan had an amazing day, 14 of 20, with 196 yards passing with 2 touchdowns, 96.5 QBR rating. Kai Thomas led the way in rushing for 26 carries for 105 yards. Behind him, Bucko Irvin was 14 for 70. Then Cole Kramer for 5 for 14. In terms of receptions, receiving core, Brevin Spanfor, our tight end that we've been hyping up for these many years, also had a decent day with 3 receptions for 67 yards. Crab got 3 for 44. Dalen was 1 for 34. Daniel Jackson 2 for 27. Kai and Mike Brown-Stevens getting there for 2 receptions each for 14 and 10 yards respectively. No fumbles, no turnovers this game. Defense had an amazing day. Jack Gibbons led the way in tackles. In interceptions, Tyler Newbin and Philip Howard got INTs that day. And then Matt Trickett did not have any field goals, but was 5 for 5 on extra points. And Mark Crawford had 4 punts with a long of 44 yards. And that's it, at least for our team.
Yeah, I was a little scared, not gonna lie. One of those I watched probably about half the game, and half of the game that I saw was the first quarter, and I thought to myself, what in the world is going on? Because Donovan McCulley was running all over our defense on that opening drive. He was just getting the ball snapped to him, and he's just making a instant decision to run the ball. Or he's even Freifogel, that I know Wyatt was covering last week. He had some pretty shifty moves, and shows why.
Let him be.
And so I think after that first drive, especially after that first quarter, having the defense settle down and go back to being a top 15 rush defense in the country, they showed why the Gophers are ranked where they are in rushing defense. But I'm glad they kind of found their groove too, especially in the run game as well.
Wyatt, anything?
I'm not highly concerned with the result of that game. 35-14 is not, where I would have liked to be, but it's something that I'm more and more comfortable with as time passes.
Yeah.
It's just how the Gophers play football. They don't really go out there to stomp all over an opponent.
And to be fair, that last touchdown by Indiana was in the final 30 seconds. So, I mean, if we really look at it in depth,
it's a 35-7 game that ended 35-14 because,
Yeah, and especially in that case, we had, I think, second or third stringers in that defense probably, right? But I will note this. I did see some of the highlights and reviewed a lot of the stats. I will say this was a cleaner day for Tanner. I think PJ said it best in his press conference post-game and then his Wisconsin preview on Monday. I think in this case, Tanner keeps clean. He's not getting hit or getting flustered. Like, I know we talk about it for any other quarterback, and the offensive line keeps them upright. Tanner can have a field day. And I will say this too. I saw a lot of less drop passes than what we're used to. Again, well, not highlights. I rewatched the YouTube TV recap or the full game recorded on my DVR. So I'd say it was a solid day for both the Gophers in the air and on the ground. We were just moving. I think my only gripe was that Griffin said in that first drive that Indiana had, they were really, really great. Like, is this the same Indiana team that's like 0-8 currently, or 0-7 in conference play? But of course, after that, defense settled down, and we finally been converting on red zones, which was a problem for us against Iowa, which we expected. So I'd say it's a better team today, and I think that's a good thing going into Wisconsin this Saturday. Anything else to touch on Indiana or about this game? I have nothing else.
I mean, of the 14 completed passes, I really liked the variety in which those passes were thrown. We had, I think, maybe a screen pass or two, or just, simply, or the Dalen Wright kind of had a little post route that he was going out of bounds with. You had Crab go up there and just fight for a ball. I think this offense does a lot better when they're not just relying on number 7 and 16 and number 9 to run a slant over the middle. I love the variety of the passes, and obviously I love using Brevin Spanford, as he showed why we need to give him the ball more, as he hurdles legit people.
Oh, I think we forget that Tanner Morgan has not been a bad quarterback for us. Tanner Morgan has had quite a bit of success in this program. I mean, the numbers just show that he's one of the most successful quarterbacks in program history. And while I question whether he's one of the top quarterbacks in the country like we thought he might be at the start of the season, I do think that Tanner Morgan has talent, and we just need to let him showcase that talent.
Yeah.
But we also have to ask him not to do too much at the same time, because if he's trapped in the pocket, he's not a guy that can. Maybe he can or just doesn't want to, but he can't just run out of the pocket and tuck the ball. Like, he's better off just throwing it instead of trying to make. He's not a Patrick Mahomes and can try to make something out of nothing.
I was gonna say, we definitely don't have Lamar Jackson, but
Yeah, or Russell Wilson.
When he does what Tanner knows how to do well in the situations that he has to do it, he can be a great quarterback.
Mm-hmm. But yes, if we're good at moving on, I do want to touch on a few things, actually. So why I mentioned it? So right now, Tanner Morgan has, I think, 25 career wins as our starting quarterback for the Golden Gophers, which is now first in program history, or first place in program history. And for me, I have a very small sample size. I became a more in-depth Gopher fan during the Mitch Leidner era. So all I had was Mitch Leidner for those few years, and of course we had Demery Croft and Connor Rhoda during that 1 year with PJ, a bit of Zach Annexstead and Tanner. And I will say, well, I do have my issues with Tanner and what he does in some games, in more recency bias, like the past year or two, besides in 2019. Tanner is better. Like, he is marginally better than Mitch Leidner in many ways and form for me, and better than Connor Rhoda and Demery Croft, which I think speaks volumes.
Listen, there are ways where Mitch Leidner plays this game better than Tanner Morgan does.
True.
Mitch Leidner has more mobility, and that automatically gives him more room to create. And that's always going to be the advantage of having a quarterback that's more mobile. And Mitch Leidner probably could have been even more of an asset in PJ's offense than he ever was in the Jerry Kill system.
Mm-hmm.
That said, Tanner also has his benefits. I think a lot of it comes down to just the character and leadership. I think Tanner is someone who we want to throw our support behind, and I never really got behind Mitch Light. I've been behind Tanner this whole time.
Yep, totally agree.
And that's something that you can't measure the value.
And I will add too, he did lose his dad to cancer, unfortunately, only 5-6 months ago, and that's not easy to get over. I will say that, losing a close relative or parent, and of course, I think he also proposed to his now fiance. So I'd say he's guy.
Also, he's on the list for Man of the Year, NCAA Man of the Year.
Oh. So yeah,
I can't remember what the official name of the award is.
Something that's good, always. But
it's just good to see a good guy.
Yeah.
Behind under center.
Awesome. Well, that's my bit about Tanner's key feat. Next player actually is Conor Olson. He surpassed Billy Price from Ohio State, starting now 56 consecutive games at offensive line. I believe he was a carryover from the Jerry Kill, Tracy Claeys era, and just stuck with the team since then, and has been in the offensive lineup for many, many years. And with the Wisconsin game, assuming he starts, will be, I believe, his 57th. So he'll be will be in the lead for a new record for the Big Ten as an offensive lineman for years to come. So kudos to him.
And he's been playing well the whole time. I can't oversell how valuable Conor Olson has been for this program.
Yeah, and I think, Griffin, you might have to correct me on this. I think he is in grad school or med school, becoming a doctor or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, I know his dad works in the area as a doctor, well respected, and he obviously has the smarts for it.
I believe the actual fact is that he passed his exams with flying colors. Because they were talking about it. I can't remember if it was the Indiana game or the Iowa game, but there was a player on the other side. There was an offensive lineman on the other side of the ball who had very similar numbers and a very similar background, and was also applying to med school.
Awesome. But yeah, shout out to Conor Olson as well. But I do want to, before we move on to Wisconsin, here is our current big board for predictions and stuff. So right now, I'm leading the way at 8-3. And then, since you guys predicted losses preseason, both you, Wyatt, and Griffin.
That's your fault. That's your freaking fault.
Griffin, you predicted before I predicted.
Dropped to 7-4.
You just pushed me over, and I wasn't ready for that.
I'm a big Indiana stan. I really like Michael Penix Jr. I'm not going to lie about it.
Hopefully next year?
If he can stay healthy, he might actually have a good season, but I have my doubts about him staying healthy.
Yeah. But yes, right now, I'm leaning the way, but we do have one more game up ahead. And let's get on to it. For your final Week 13 regular season game, rivalry weekend, your Minnesota Golden Gophers are facing the Wisconsin Badgers, who are currently ranked 14th in the college football playoff rankings, with an overall record at 8-3, 6-2 in conference play. The game will air on Fox at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, on the November 27th, at Huntington Bank Stadium as well. Tickets are still available, I believe. ESPN's FPI has Wisconsin's favored by 62% versus 38% for the Gophs. And in terms of the betting odds, as of today, Wednesday the 24th, it's favoring Wisconsin +7. So Gophers by +7, over under being at 39.
Ooh, low scoring game expected.
Ooh,
Mhm.
I'm buying the over on that. I'm throwing 10 on the over.
And some quick stats as well. Their quarterback right now, Wisconsin starting quarterback is still Graham Mertz. Remember when we all thought he was going to be the Lord and Savior at the quarterback position for Wisconsin?
Don't put that on me. Don't you put that on me.
No,
That's all LeRon's.
That's LeRon's. That's LeRon's.
That is all LeRon's fault. And you may quote me on that. LeBron's ain't even here to defend himself, and I want to go after him on the Graham Mertz hype.
But right now, for the season, he is 137 of 231 on passes, 1,650 yards with 9 touchdowns and 9 interceptions.
That's fun.
But he has not. He's been on the lower side of throwing touchdowns and less INTs since Wisconsin actually remembered that they actually have a decent running back room to alleviate the pressure off him. So they're kind of doing what the Gophers do, is relying on the run game, letting Graham do what he needs to do in terms of like make first downs and get to the red zone, and let their defense eat all day. And I will say this: I am really scared of Wisconsin's defense. When they first started off with a couple losses, especially to some ranked teams early on in the season, they did not play so hot. Again, Graham Mertz was not playing great. Running game was very mute, and defense was lacking. But now that they finally got their bearings, they are really solid. And trying to make a run for Big Ten West champions to go to the Big Ten championship. I think for me, my key, if I did have one, is that don't let this defense stun you. Like again, it's going to be a rivalry game. It's going to be a tough game on either side of the ball. And I hope to expect PJ and the staff like Mike Sanford, Matt Simon, Brian Callahan, Coach Linguist for running backs coach, right?
Running backs, Kenny Burns.
My bad. I keep missing him and Mo Linguist, our previous DB coach. Okay, and Clay Patterson, our tight ends coach. I want them to unload. Like I kind of liked what we did during the Iowa game, where we forced Iowa's defense to move left to right laterally, then forward and back, which was very advantageous on some of those shuffle passes. Like this is like one example, but I want to see everything on the books that our team is really good at, and exploit some of the weaknesses, because I think we can match up well with this defense. They're tough and scary tough. Like some Duke DBs, good linebackers, and a solid D line.
Yeah, I think this game comes down to how well our coordinators on offense can scheme and their plays against Wisconsin's defense, because we all know Wisconsin's going to be stingy. They seem to be letting up a little bit more this year, but obviously still overall they're a great overall defense, and we have to take them as seriously as any opponent we face. But if our offense can't produce, then we're absolutely screwed, because our defense will not be able to hold unless our offense can help put up points.
Anything, Wyatt?
You want a key to the game?
Or anything you're aware of, or have something interesting about this game coming up? Because it's gonna be a tough game coming up for the Axe.
I want to see the PJ Fleck Western Michigan experience. I want to chuck the football. I want to see that football fly through the air, and I want to make Graham Mertz try to do the same damn thing, because we know Graham Mertz ain't all that. He's shown us all season long that he's not the quarterback that people thought he was going to be. So we got to be willing to put the ball in Tanner's hands and say, if you're going to beat us through the air.
So are you implying we play a game like we did one of the games earlier this season where we did not win the time of possession and just chuck it?
Throw the ball, and take the ball away from Graham Mertz. Giving the ball to Graham Mertz 30 times a game might be worse than giving the ball to Tanner Morgan 30 times a game. The more we throw, the more advantage I see.
All right.
I don't like how well Wisconsin can run the football. But if you force them to put the ball in the air, then we might have a ball game.
Yeah, because every other potential touchdown pass will be intercepted. It'll be 1-1
by Justin Wally, Tyler Nubin, Justin
Philip
Howden,
Howard.
Philip Howard.
Not underestimated. He's going to be a real stud.
And Wally's only a true freshman, guys.
Yeah, no, I know.
But yes, anything else? Like again, Griff, you guys, Wyatt's want us to chuck it because we know Graham Mertz.
I want to throw.
Yep.
I want to throw it.
I want us
let
to.
TJ Fleck take control.
All right. I mentioned a tough defense, and I think I want our offense to unload. Griffin agrees the same thing, but also Wisconsin has also a tough offense as well. So like any rivalry week, especially like the Iowa game where it was a close game by a one possession game, it's gonna be a dogfight coming up. Right now, like I said, the betting odds has a over under at 39, which is pretty low for this upcoming game. But if there's nothing else, you guys want to head on to predictions?
Let's do it.
All right. I will go first. So I said in preseason we would win. So let's take the Gophers 38 to 21.
Whoa! Holy points, McGee.
Do you think we're going to win by 17?
Yes.
I want whatever you're having.
Me too. What you got, Griff?
Whoa, what does Griff got?
You said preseason was a win.
Did I really?
Yes, you did.
Wow, optimism. Well, definitely going to take the over. So I got to throw up at least 39 on the board here. I'm going to say this is going to be a game of field goals and holding the offense. So let's do 26 for the Gophs. And we'll do 20 for Wisconsin.
All right, Wyatt?
I know I've got a big fat L on the board for this one from the preseason. And I'm not sure I don't buy into that. But We're going to play the optimist here. And we're going to say that we have a 26-24 ball game in favor of the Gophs.
And what happens if we lose?
If we lose, it's gonna be brutal. It's gonna be ugly. Let's call it 24-6 if we lose.
Well,
I will say this then. I said a win, 38-21, but if we lose, I'm going to say 0-31. Big boys.
Did we ever list off any facts about the the most played FBS rivalry in college football history?
I have not. Do you have any? I
think I think we're getting some important information.
Give us the deets, Griffin.
Overall series, Minnesota trails 60-62 in 8. Minnesota's lost the last 2. In Minnesota. Minnesota leads the series 37-27 to 2. Minnesota lost the last, obviously, in Madison 20-17. But I'm actually really excited because Tim Brando's doing the play-by-play on television on Fox, and he has a great voice. So
Tim Brando?
Tim Brando's on it, my guy.
Oh, hell yeah.
God, what else? Saturday, 73rd battle for Paul Bunyan's axe.
Before that, the slab of bacon, which mysteriously disappeared and found in a closet in Wisconsin that updated scores since it went missing.
It's terrible.
And is it Barry? Oh, wait. Is it still in Barry Alvarez's office?
Wisconsin still has it.
I know they have it, but I thought it was Barry Alvarez's retirement. It may not be there. Maybe somewhere else. I want that back.
It's somewhere, and they've got it, and we want it back.
Because technically we won it.
Fair and square.
Yeah. Still
and I
salty
think what
about that.
It was in 2018. So obviously we won it in 2018, and there are still 34 players on our current roster that were on that winning team. I think that's enough good juju to tilt the needle.
Mm-hmm. Oh, shoot, I'm trying to find this Twitter post. Yes, this is the game for the Axe, a very important rivalry game for us. But I do want to mention it is Senior Day as well. It is our last home game for the regular season, so I do want to try to find a list of seniors that is walking at this game. I believe I bookmarked it for my sake. Okay, here we go. Kudos to the Daily Gopher. So on Senior Day, this Saturday, these are the seniors with no eligibility remaining to be a college football player. Wide receiver Clay Geary, tight end Ko Kieft, offensive linemen Conor Olson and Sam Schluter, defensive tackles Niles Pickney, Micah Dutredway, and Val Martin, linebacker Jack Gibbons, cornerbacks Coney Durr, Philip Howard, and safety. Oh, no, not safety. Another cornerback, Justice Harris, and then safety, Calvin Swenson. Will have no eligibility remaining for forever, so they'll be graduating, leaving school, and either go to the NFL or go to other careers or pursuits.
There are a couple of real arguments for the NFL.
I know.
Conor Olson especially.
Yeah, for me, is Conor Olson is the big name. I think Coney may have gotten himself... What?
He's got a shot.
He's got a shot, like probably 6-7 rounder, maybe free agency, or no, undrafted free agent. Niles Pickney did transfer from Clemson, as you recall, and he was already a stud for them with Clemson, and coming to join us became still being a stud for us. So I think Niles Pickney has a shot as well. But first of all, to these seniors with no eligibility remaining, kudos to them. Conor Olson, Sam Schluter. Conor's been in forever. Sam, I know we bitched about him in 2019, or was it 2018? Not bad. Yeah, 2018. But he's has improved majorly and has been a stud on the offensive line with Conor. Micah, who was a transfer from Notre Dame, I believe, was been solid. Jack Gibbons, a 1-year starter for us, has been solid at the linebacker position, lining up alongside Braylon Oliver or Mariano Sori-Marin. Again, all awesome guys on that list there. Anything else with this list of seniors with no eligibility?
I got nothing.
I don't know that I can say anything that you haven't already said way better than I would say it.
Yeah. So next up, these are seniors that has one more year of eligibility. All right. So first off, quarterback Tanner Morgan.
He should come back.
You think so?
Yeah, I think he should come back.
You don't trust the quarterbacks behind him?
I think if I'm Tanner Morgan, I was being talked about as someone with a real chance of going to the NFL a year ago. And now I'm an afterthought. And if I want to go to the NFL, and I'm assuming there's an interest as a football player, I'm coming back to show that I can do it. I'm pulling a Sam Bradford here.
All right. Behind him, and this has been confirmed already by this person himself. Running back Mohamed Ibrahim is returning for his last year of eligibility at the tailback position after tearing, I think his meniscus in the first game of the season against Ohio State, who Ohio State did not have a solution to stopping until he went down with injury. So it's great to have Mo back.
He's a pretty good solution.
Yeah. And don't forget, he'll be joining a room with guys of experience such as Bryce Williams, Trey Potts, Kai Thomas, and Bucko. I'm worried about Trey, though. I think we may lose him just to medical retirement. I think his health.
You don't think he's coming back?
I think he can come back. It's just that my concern is if he does leave, we should not be shocked by it. Like if he medically retires from football, but
we also know that if he does choose that, we're prepared for it.
Yeah.
Mo's coming back, but Mo's not going to be working alone. Not if they're smart.
Yep, and I think
Kai Thomas, Bucko Irving is there. Bryce Williams is there. These are all options to sort of cut down on Mo's workload and hopefully mitigate the risk of further injury.
So is this essentially for 2022 with Mo back, along with potentially Trey and Bryce? We have a pair and a spare, another pair. I'll take it. But yes, Mohamed is returning as a senior for his last year eligibility. Behind Mo is Crab. I forgot he had an extra year of eligibility.
That's weird, man.
Yeah. Then behind Crab, we have several offensive lineman guys. So I gotta list them all first. Blaze Andrews, Daniel Faalele, John Michael Schmitz, and Axel Rushmeyer. So yeah, we got 4 boys on the D line that has eligibility to return. What do y'all think?
Thank God we have that much eligibility left on the O-line. I would be absolutely scared out of my mind if we didn't have at least 3 of those guys back.
Yeah. But
and that's with who I know can do it all.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Then
what if none of them came back? Wyatt, what would you do?
If none of them came back, I would die on the spot.
Like, okay.
You'd have to make sure LaRons was in the room every week because I wouldn't be.
Wyatt, I will say this. If we do lose someone, I'm okay with losing Daniel because he is an intriguing NFL prospect.
No, I don't think he's ready.
Not ready? Okay.
I think he should come back for 1 more year.
Okay.
Because, he is an intriguing NFL. You're correct. But he's only played this game here. This is his first experience with the United States game. So, if I'm him, I want to put myself on tape for NFL scouts as much as possible. I want to prove that I'm more than just a big body. Because that's what we think of Daniel Faalele is. He's just a huge guy.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm him, I want to show that I'm not just a huge guy, that I have all of the fundamentals and footwork. I want to show that I can do it all.
I agree. I think when we got him, he was a little over 400. trainers and staff trimmed him down to about, I think he's sitting at about a good 380 right now. But I still think there's a little bit more room to even maybe 10, 20 pounds even get a little lighter, be a little quicker with the feet. If there's one thing he's not super quick with, it's his feet. But to his advantage, can they really get around him anyway? Not necessarily, unless they beat him really, really good and get a good jump off the line. So
it's a really interesting prospect as like a right tackle.
Yep.
And 10 pounds might actually make him even more intriguing as a right tackle.
Right.
Yep.
So I agree with
or he might enter the conversation as a left tackle at a certain point.
True. But yes, at least 4 guys are eligibility on the old line. Hopefully they all come back. Or in Wyatt's case, please bring back at least 3 so he doesn't lose his sanity. Yep. Then
I see it not coming back because he didn't start. But
yeah. Next up, we do have a few guys on the defense here. So let's start off with defensive ends: Boye Mafe, Assisi Otomoyo, and Thomas Rush.
Good.
It's an interesting case to potentially go to the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's ready now, but maybe.
I think that if he takes that last year of eligibility, I think he will be crucial for film development, and I think he'll be ready after the next year. I think, yeah.
He's been good for us at the very least.
Yeah. Then next up at linebacker is Mariano Sori-Marin.
Wonderful. We need his.
I can't imagine he doesn't come back.
Yeah.
There's no world in my head where Sori-Marin isn't on the team.
Then
Elite and a good football player.
Then in the defensive backfield, we have 2 guys: cornerback Terrell Smith and safety Jordan Howden.
Jordan learned from Antoine Winfield Jr., so I trust that he knows what he's doing at the safety position to help other safeties under him. T-Time has really good potential, but I see him as he could be really, really good or a potential bust on defense.
Yeah. Then special teams, kicker Matthew Trickett.
I'm not even.
If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
Well, it's not about the players, it's about the coaching staff. I don't have an issue with some of our players. I just have an issue in how they're coached. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, Lorenzo, he would go off on this unset coach.
Oh, that punter guy, I don't think he's very good.
Yep. But yes, it is senior day, our last regular season home game. And these are essentially, if I having let me count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 25 to 27 seniors roughly on this team leaving. A lot of these were on, actually, surprisingly, PJ's first recruiting class back in 2016 to 2017 when he got first hired to become the Gophers head coach. And a few of these have been transfers for us in the last year or two. But yes, that's a lot of seniors. If they do walk or and leave the University of Minnesota or plan to stay, that's a lot of seniors up in that upper class there. But I think I think I can say it for all of us here at the podcast, for you seniors leaving, kudos to you for all you've done for our school and university and for the team, either be off the field with the turkey drives recently for Thanksgiving, to being there at the Masonic Children's Hospital and being, just great people and just giving us great memories for us fans. So kudos to all you that are departing, and yay for you, those of you returning for another season 2022. All right, so That wraps. I say it's a wrap for our preview for Axe Week. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
So next up is a segment that Wyatt has personally asked for us to discuss, the potential for the Gophers to make it to the Big Ten championship.
Let's get crazy.
All right, take the lead.
Right. So this comes down to 3 games. 3 key games in this one. First off is Friday's game, which is Nebraska and Iowa.
And there's no Adrian Martinez.
We are looking for a Nebraska win.
Wyatt.
It's not a great chance, but
Wyatt, right now with the loss of Adrian Martinez, Nebraska is still favored by -1. I know, right?
so you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance.
Then game 2 is Purdue and Indiana. What we're looking for, oddly enough, is Purdue to handle their business. Because Purdue winning that ball game puts us in the best spot. Purdue, the last I checked, had an 85% chance to take the game. So I'm saying there's a chance. And then, of course, thing 3 is we need to handle our own business. We got to beat Wisconsin. All of those lead to a 4-way tie at the top of the Big Ten West. And who walks out with the tiebreaker? Minnesota. So we are rooting for Nebraska. We're rooting for Purdue. And, of course, we're rooting for the Golden Gophers.
Yep.
Correct.
So, wait. So, right now, you said right now it's you 4-way tie, right? So, looking ahead.
4-way tie if all of those happen.
Yes. So, right now, Wisconsin's case, if they do their business, right, and they beat us.
If Wisconsin handles their business, they're in.
Yeah. But say if Wisconsin loses, but Iowa wins.
Iowa's probably going.
Yes. But if Iowa wins, if Wisconsin loses, Iowa wins, they go on. But if both team loses, is that Gophers still?
Wisconsin and Iowa lose, and Minnesota wins, we need Purdue to win.
If Purdue loses.
If Purdue loses, it gets messy, and I think Wisconsin probably walks away with it.
Okay.
Because they have the right set of tiebreakers. But Purdue winning makes it a 4-way tie, which means that the tiebreakers fall for us.
Oh boy. All right.
And then obviously the Big Ten East comes down to the game.
Ohio State versus Michigan.
Ohio State and Michigan.
Actually, curious question. Who are you guys rooting for that game?
I'll be rooting for Michigan. Because I am tired of Ohio State.
I'm also rooting for Michigan. But then again, from what I've seen of the Jim Harbaugh era against the Ohio State, please don't be the classic Jim Harbaugh team in the last 5 years we've seen them play. Please.
Just to throw this in for some extra spice, if Michigan wins that game and all of the results in the West go the way that we need them to, we could have a Minnesota-Michigan conference championship.
Playing for the jug too?
I don't know how that works.
Wait, actually, curious question.
Conference championship for the jug.
Curious question. Would they allow us to play for a rivalry trophy and for a conference championship?
I don't know what Big Ten rules are on that.
Because I'd be curious about that. I'm down. A rivalry game and a championship to win. And actually, now that I think about it, if Michigan wins, they go to the playoffs, right? Or no?
It depends. They're a one-loss team. Their loss is to a Michigan State team that has not looked great lately.
Didn't they lose to Purdue?
Yes, they lost to Purdue, and they got absolutely steamrolled by Ohio State. So really, Michigan going to the playoffs would be dependent on their ability to win the Big Ten championship. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, but assuming
if they win the Big Ten championship, they're in.
Yeah,
but if they don't handle their business in the Big Ten championship, we could see an open spot.
True. But then, curious question though, because if we win the Big Ten say hypothetically, we beat Wisconsin, we do our business, everything favors us. Nebraska beating Iowa on Friday in a couple of days, Purdue wins on Saturday against Indiana, right?
If you're going to ask me if we're going to the playoffs, the answer is no.
No, not playoffs. For the Rose Bowl, is that Big Ten champions versus Pac-12 champions though?
Traditionally it has been Big 12 champ or Big Ten champion.
Because we are coming
in theory,
yeah,
we could still make the Rose Bowl.
Because I don't know how people will react to this. Because I for sure think people are not going to be happy that an 8-4, or in this case 9-4 Gophers team that lost to Bowling Green in Illinois is in the Rose Bowl. But then again, I don't know how that would shake out.
Well, they would also not be happy if a 10-3 11-2 Michigan team with losses to Michigan State and Minnesota was in the Rose Bowl.
True.
There are a lot of people who would be happier with an Ohio State team that has losses to Oregon and Michigan.
True.
In that game.
That's such a big rabbit hole we're climbing into. Oh.
There's a lot that needs to go right for us to even get there. So.
Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed.
Just cross everything, guys.
Next key piece here. If you're okay, Wyatt, we'll move on here. But an interesting hypothetical for us to go to the Big Ten championship. But an interesting coaching name is coming up. Former Golden Gophers head coach Jerry Kill, who's currently the interim at TCU. I think the head coach he is filling in for, because Gary Patterson was let go by TCU. And right now, apparently, as of yesterday, the 23rd, New Mexico State football has Jerry Kill pegged to become their head coach. And what makes it more interesting, New Mexico State plays the Gophers at Huntington Bank Stadium on September 1st. Yeah. And kudos to Ryan Burns from 24/7 Sports for mentioning this. Jerry Kill quoted in 2017, "I won't be stepping foot back in this stadium, and I won't be stepping back into this university." And then he has a potential quote of Jerry Kill in 2022, "Let's go Aggies," as he steps back into Minnesota's campus.
I don't know that I see him taking that coaching job. I think it's beneath him.
I think for Jerry Kill, he's just kind of been a bitter old man, and he's just said those things years ago. But now that it's a different regime. This isn't this is Mark Coyle's athletic department, Mark Coyle's university. They didn't necessarily interact too much. We were still on the whole Norwood Teague, Gandil, Beth Getz transition time. So I think maybe enough time has passed for Jerry to know that this isn't the same university that he was working for several years ago that had him on a sour note. So,
and I will say this too. Remember, a lot of the beef like that was on, the media, Minnesota sports media, and it was around like the nation essentially. But the beef essentially of PJ and Jerry Kill, pretty much I'd say stopped after PJ's third season where he won again 2019, where we won 11 games, going to the Outback Bowl and beating an SEC team in Auburn, who was coached by at that time Gus Malzahn. And from there, we haven't heard a peep from Jerry at all. Of course, 2020 passes. Now we're in 2021, almost at the end of the season. I think for the media, they're going to have a field day, obviously, because that's what the media does. But I think for PJ and Jerry, I think they're going to keep it civil. And, PJ's going to coach his team, as they always do, is to pretty much almost entirely ignore the outside noise, which there will be noise, some of the noise, to focus on their game plan, on what they do best on offense, which obviously we run the hell out of the ball. If Tanner does come back, he's hoping to better himself, and then of course a veteran defense coming back as well. So I think it's going to be an interesting thing, but I don't know. Again, it's just a Twitter leak that's reporting this right now, so I don't know if he's going to be hired or not. There's still a few games left in this, or a couple more games left to coach for the remainder of the season and potentially bowl games. So I'm not going to do anything just yet until we know who New Mexico State hires. But if it is Jerry Kill, you know what? We appreciate what you've done for us from, I'd say, what was it, 12 or 13 till partway through 2015. But other than that, thank you for your time here. But right now, if you're going to be with the Aggies, you are our opponent for week 2, essentially, or week 1.
He's the enemy.
So, yeah. Unless you guys have anything else to add on that.
I think the media, all I have is that the media is going to, make it as big as they can to make it a big deal. But when it comes down to it, like you said, I think it's just going to be a civil coaching battle, and they'll barely acknowledge each other post game and then go their separate ways.
Yep. But other than that, that's all I have on the agenda and plans today. You guys have anything else to touch up on? NFL?
And
anything else in college football?
We just taking time to acknowledge Cincinnati.
Oh, keep rolling.
They're still undefeated,
Those are my
right?
championship team.
They're 11-0, right?
11-0.
About to be
kind of. We don't know what they could do. We know that Georgia's a good football team, but we don't know what Cincinnati can do in that situation.
Then here's my question, and I feel like this. I may have answered it myself in my head. Do you think the playoff committee is not going to let them into the 4-team playoff, assuming they win their 12th game, right, and then win their conference championship?
It's going to be hard to leave them out.
Because
it's going to be very difficult to leave them out.
Because I can see them putting them at 5 and just snub them from the playoffs.
They're in the top 4 now.
Oh, they are? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, they're listed at 4 right now.
So if they win,
LSU, Bama, Cincy.
They need to lose to drop a spot is pretty much what it comes down to.
Or someone who's just outside looking in needs to really impress the committee this week. And it's pretty much got to be Notre Dame.
Jack
Notre Dame has to show that they're not the team that's lost to Cincy at the beginning of the season. So who does Notre Dame got this week?
Let me take a look. Notre Dame has Stanford at 7 p.m.
They play Stanford?
Yep.
Well, I mean, it's an opportunity to show what Oregon's not. That's for sure.
Jack Cohn, chuck it.
There's an argument to be made that Oklahoma State rolling over Oklahoma this week could vault them into the discussion.
True. I forgot about that for the Big
But
12.
they will need to really impress the kid. And then again, there's also the potential that Alabama loses to Georgia in the SEC championship and falls out.
Let's hope not. Come on, Georgia.
You're hoping that Bama doesn't? Listen, if Georgia wins the SEC championship, do you put a 2-loss Bama team in?
I wouldn't. No.
Can you really take a 2-loss Bama team over, say, a 1-loss Notre Dame or a 1-loss Oklahoma State?
If it were me, no. It was looking at just pure records. But we've seen this committee made a lot of egregious decisions in the last few years that I would not be surprised if they put Bama with 2 losses in the top 4, which I would find so annoying again. And I don't know why I keep looking out for hope that they won't do that. Probably the goodness in me, the good human nature in me, but I don't know. You said who Alabama plays for last game?
Who does Cincinnati play?
Oh, Cincinnati.
Is it Houston? Do they have to play Houston?
East Carolina at 2:30, and they're playing on Friday night or Friday afternoon. Yep.
So they just got to handle their business against ECU. Since he can handle their business, they are not by any means going to be out of the conversation.
Yeah. But all right. Anything else, guys?
I think we got it all covered, boys.
For me.
Hell yeah. All right. So thank you for everyone listening and watching today's podcast, episode 44 for OPA Podcast. Have a very, very safe and joyous and thankful Thanksgiving from me and the crew here at OPA Podcast. Have a great holiday season coming up. Stay safe out there too with the colder weather coming in from Minnesota, and it's pretty windy. And stay safe with COVID as well. There's skyrocketing numbers as I've seen from recent reports. So please stay safe. And we'll keep an eye out and root for our Golden Gophers this Saturday against the Wisconsin Badgers for Paul Bunyan's axe. But other than that, we'll see you guys post Wisconsin for a review podcast and look into also what's the bowl game coming up for our Golden Gophers since they're already bowl eligible past 6 games, and then we'll go from there. But other than that, thank you so much for listening, watching to the podcast tonight, and we'll see you guys next time. Again, I'm one of your hosts, Jason O.
I'm Griffin Most.
I'm Wyatt Okers.
And we'll see y'all next time. And
oh.